History sometimes hides its biggest surprises in plain sight. One of those surprises is this. The bitter rivalry we see today between Iran and Israel did not always exist. In fact, there was a time when the two countries quietly cooperated with each other, sharing intelligence and maintaining strategic ties. Standing close to both of them was another powerful player, the United States. Today, these three nations sit at the center of one of the most dangerous geopolitical rivalries in the modern world. Missiles, proxy militias, cyber warfare, and nuclear fears have turned their relationship into a complex and volatile struggle that shapes the entire Middle East. The story begins in 1948, the year the modern state of Israel was created. Its birth triggered conflict across the region, as many neighboring countries rejected its existence. Yet in the background, Iran maintained a quieter position. At the time, Iran was ruled by Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, a monarch who believed strongly in modernization and close ties with the West. Under his leadership, Iran became a key ally of the United States. Because both Iran and Israel shared concerns about regional instability and Soviet influence during the Cold War, they quietly developed cooperative ties, including intelligence sharing, trade, and military coordination. For a time, Iran, Israel, and the United States were aligned in their strategic outlook. Everything changed in 1979 with the Iranian Revolution. The monarchy collapsed after widespread unrest, and a new Islamic government came to power under Ruhollah Khomeini. This new leadership completely transformed Iran's foreign policy. Israel was declared illegitimate, and relations were cut. The United States, once a close ally, became a central opponent in Iran's political narrative. Almost overnight, the friendly relationship turned into open hostility, creating a new geopolitical divide that would shape the region for decades. Despite this hostility, Iran and Israel did not immediately go to war directly. Instead, their conflict took the form of a shadow war fought through indirect means. Iran expanded its influence by supporting allied groups across the region. One of the most prominent was Hezbollah in Lebanon, which grew into a powerful force both politically and militarily. Another was Hamas in the Gaza Strip. These groups frequently engaged in conflicts with Israel, allowing Iran to challenge Israeli power without direct confrontation. In response, Israel conducted airstrikes, intelligence operations, and covert missions, particularly targeting Iranian positions in Syria. Over time, cyber warfare and sabotage became part of this hidden struggle, reinforcing the idea of an ongoing shadow war. As this indirect conflict continued, another issue rose to the forefront: Iran's nuclear program. Iran maintained that its nuclear activities were for peaceful purposes, such as energy production. However, Israel and the United States feared that Iran could eventually develop nuclear weapons. This concern led to years of negotiations and diplomatic efforts. In 2015, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action was signed, placing limits on Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for lifting sanctions. For a brief moment, it seemed that tensions might ease. But in 2018, the United States withdrew from the agreement and reimposed sanctions, causing relations to deteriorate once again. Iran resumed parts of its nuclear development, and the rivalry deepened. By the early 2020s, tensions had reached new levels. Regional instability, ongoing conflicts, and shifting alliances made the situation increasingly fragile. A major turning point came during the Israel-Hamas war, which intensified violence across the region. Iran-aligned groups increased their attacks on Israeli and American targets, while Israel expanded its military operations against Iranian-linked forces. The nature of the conflict began to shift, with more visible and direct confrontations. Missiles, drones, and cyber attacks became central tools, pushing the region closer to open conflict. This rivalry has consequences far beyond the Middle East. One critical factor is the region's importance to global energy supply. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow but vital waterway, carries a large portion of the world's oil shipments. Any disruption in this area can have immediate global economic effects. This is one reason why the United States remains deeply involved in the region. Stability here is not just a regional concern, but a global one, affecting economies and security worldwide. Today, the relationship between Iran and Israel remains tense and unpredictable. It is a conflict shaped by decades of political change, ideological differences, and strategic competition. On one side stands Israel, supported by the United States and its allies. On the other stands Iran, building influence through regional networks and partnerships. Between them lies a complex system of proxy forces, military strategies, and diplomatic challenges. This is not just a story of war, but a story of transformation. What began as cooperation evolved into confrontation, and what was once hidden in the shadows now increasingly moves into the open. The future of this rivalry remains uncertain. Whether it leads to greater conflict or eventual resolution will depend on decisions yet to be made. For now, the world continues to watch as this long and complicated story unfolds.